All right. So guys, as you guys know, I'm trying to create a 50 people company. And as I'm creating a 50 people company, I realize that some of the areas of the enterprise have to be automated and we have to start modeling them differently. Previously, I ran a 5 people company. And when you run a 5 people company, you really don't need as many SOPs. You don't really need to, there is a certain task, you don't need SOPs, you just keep on going. It's very easy to manage 5 people. Once they spend 2 3 months with you, they know 80% of the task, and then small things they keep on learning on the way, and then they eventually become a master of the entire thing. And then there are 5% things that they may not know, and that's fine. And then they can ask you, and then the scope of the business is not that much that you have to spend too much time in taking care of those small things. So the business is very different when you're running a 5 people company. But when you're running a 50 people company, you need SOPs and you need proper tools and you need proper methods. When I start to do that, I realize that nobody's talking about 50 people company the way, the scope of the 50 people company is 50. It's not 500 or 50,000 people company. It's not a multi-billion-dollar corporation. It's a small company with a revenue of around, 5 to 10 million dollars. And we don't need to make the things more complex than they need to be. And that's the main idea behind what I'm going to explain, the difference between SOPs, processes, sub processes, programs, sub programs, and the projects, the tasks, the sub tasks, the sub projects. What are all this? So let's talk about that. I have seen videos people trying to explain the process and SOPs. Let's not get confused. Okay, let's go one by one. Projects, sub projects, tasks, or sub tasks. Don't worry about these things. These are just projects. One thing. Just keep it in a separate box. Just projects. You don't need any more level of hierarchy than this. Maximum projects are nothing but a group of tasks for you to be able to see, or for someone to be able to see, like medium or your sales guys or you or HR guys, to be able to see what needs to be done together. But essentially projects is small or big. Tasks are granular measurable actions. Projects are like which happen over a period of time, and there are multiple tasks. Task is essentially something that you'll sit now and complete it. And but then a project is made of multiple such tasks. Doesn't matter. I simplified the things by simply saying there is this project, that there are projects. And if there are, let's say, multiple tasks that I need to track, then those are written as project title itself. Within the title itself, by doing // I've kept the two or three steps that I need to watch out for as a manager, as the owner of the enterprise. So project is just one simple list project, and it has assigned parties whosoever it is assigned to, because it can become very cumbersome just to do assignments. I have to spend a lot of time on this. And so if it's just a 50 people company, you need projects who it is assigned to. If there is a due date, if due date matters to you, measure the due date. Then project, due date, and an assignee, and maybe a couple of other fields. And then don't worry about too many fields. Don't make it too cumbersome. It's basic projects, just a list of tasks. There's a list of projects that need to be completed for you to achieve your goal. Programs and sub programs. I have seen people coming out with vision, org chart, this chart, that chart. You don't need all that. You need a very simple thing. Programs or your revenue generation programs. Let's say you have SEO SEM business, and now you start, let's say, data entry business. Those are two separate vertical programs. You need to manage it differently. You need to hire different kind of people, things like that. Your client that you will be targeting could be different. So on the basis of this you have different programs. That's it, right? For example, in my case, H1S2 is a separate program and OPT CPT is a separate program. So programs. Don't worry about programs and sub programs. Okay, sub programs are like, let's say, flavors of H1 itself. It's just your own way of organizing so that you can organize it better within the box of programs and sub programs. So don't worry about how sub programs affect others. So for interaction with other elements, programs and sub programs, just one box. Project tasks, etc., is one box. There are only two boxes in your domain now. Okay, there are no other boxes. There are just two boxes so far. Third one is processes, right? Processes. Then there are sub processes and SOPs and so on and so forth. Don't worry about them. They are just in one simple box. So processes and sub processes, they could be having hierarchy among each other. Doesn't matter. Now SOPs is just a written way of process. Why are you getting so much? Why do you want so much analysis around that? It's simple. It's a 50 people enterprise. You don't really need to do too much engineering here. Process steps. Process is something that will be recurring again and again, right? So you write it because people would refer to it again and again. So SOPs is just a written way of process. Process is action. Just don't worry about it. It's just process, step by step, simple, step by step. Whatever needs to be done step by step, that has to be documented. That's your process, and that's your SOP. Doesn't matter what process. Some people try to differentiate between these. It's just SOP is written article of the process, written stuff of the process. That's it. Now there are three boxes: projects, processes, programs. Programs at the top, right underneath are processes. On the right, somewhere here near the processes, are projects. Okay, somewhere between programs and processes, but they're on the side, they're in between and on the side. Now, let me tell you what it means. Programs essentially made up of processes. Your processes are running. People are executing those, and they basically comprise your programs, right? Your program is, you see, so your projects and tasks, they basically, your processes are running, right? Let's say you want to change the process a little bit. Your processes are like gears. Think of some gears. They're working together, they are intertwined, and then they're rotating. So those are processes. Let's say you want to add one more gear. That's a project. Using project, you are adding more stuff to these processes. You are impacting these processes. Let's say you want to implement a software. You are basically gonna fine tune these processes or speed of these processes, because you believe that when this software is implemented, that this process will become faster. These things will move faster. These gears will move faster, right? Setting symbol, that's a gear, right? That's what I'm talking about. Those big small gears, a lot of gears are working together, and that's what a program is made of. Projects impact that. Projects are conceived as part of programs, and program people, they conceive new projects to change the processes, or to introduce new processes, or to create brand new processes. Essentially all these rotating things, which basically, there is an input to these processes, there is output. Output is more money, input is little money. You see, that's the whole idea of the process. So program is that program, may you invest money and then you get more money. That's how you see the whole program. And then these boxes, there are inputs. Input of one program is the output of one program, is input of other, and so on and so forth. This process is like that. So program is made of processes. Simple. There, really don't confuse yourself too much. Don't confuse yourself too much. There are three boxes only. Within the boxes there are hierarchies. Within the boxes there are hierarchies. If you want to maintain those hierarchies, so be it. For example, in my case, I had about 25 different programs, but then I started creating small programs. Let's say like within H1, let's say I wanted to target AWS H1 people. Then I started saying, okay, let's go for .NET people. So I created that as a separate sub program, right? Because it was becoming hard to see that list. But how it interacts with projects and how it interacts with the processes doesn't really change. Just a little bit of targeting AWS, searches of AWS. So there's a little bit of just a small change in the project. Introduce a new project to impact this processes. Just a little bit of change in the processes, and so a little bit of variation of one of these processes was AWS H1. But it's not a big deal. Again, programs is one thing at the top, processes, and then you have projects. If you think this simply, you will have a lot of clarification. Programs have as their property something called as policy. In absence of a process rule, see, you have different types of people in a company. There are four types of people. People who do the things, doers. People who get the things done from those doers, getting doners or supervisors. I call those as VPH, vertical program head, who does the thing as well as get the things done. That's my definition of who does the thing as well as getting things done. So he's part of the team. He's also participating. He does the same thing. He also does the same activities, but he also gets the things done. Apart from that, vertical program head, we go to the next one. People who create processes. Okay, people who create processes. Someone has to keep creating new processes. Those are the people at the program level, right? Then there are other things also. People who notice issues and then bring it to the table and then see what needs to be processized, or basically what the process needs to be created and for what the process doesn't need to be created. Okay, new process should be introduced or not, because you need to understand your doers may not be able to understand those things. So it's better to just keep it simple. Whatever they can easily do and supervisors can easily understand, that's what you should keep within their domain, right? So those, when the process definer has to use the policies. Process definer has to use the policies whenever, let's say, in absence of a rule, certain clear rule which doers cannot follow or supervisors cannot follow, then policy comes into picture. This policy would come into picture while devising new processes also. But in general, you don't need to worry about policies. For example, HR policy is, if someone is taking a leave on Saturday and Sunday, so someone doesn't respond, on, for example, person doesn't really inform about the leaves before, let's say a person leaves, a person comes late and after 9 o'clock, then half day will be deducted. This is kind of a policy, and then the process needs to be made. Don't worry about these policies either. They're just simple. You can just make a list of things that govern what needs to be done. At the same time, they may be implemented as a business rule also. So policy and business rule, process rules, they get intermingled. Don't worry about it. Just the same thing. You need rules, just make those rules. They can be at policy level within the program, or they can be the process level. Doesn't matter where they reside. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter really. Don't try to differentiate between policy and rules and everything. There is no need. It's a 50 people company. It's not a 150,000 people company. It's a simple company. So you just, the rules basically, but we need to have certain rules, and those rules are part of the process or policies. Doesn't matter. Okay. Now, for every process, there are there are definitely something that is very important, which is, there are step by step instructions on what to do. Remember, step by step. That's the main thing. Other than that, there are certain instructions which are basically to audit those audit. So I call this audit sub processes. So you need to have audit sub processes. So I looked for a video on this, how the processes should look like, right? So okay, so let's stop the video here, and we understand the difference between programs, processes, and projects, and we are done. I'll talk about what a process is made of. And this was a video I was looking for a long time, and nobody had made a video like this. So I thought, okay, I'll make a video. All right. So thanks.